In a bustling city in South Korea, people rushed past each other, hardly ever stopping to look at those living on the edges of society. Among these overlooked figures, there was someone very special, a man with a black face. The man with the black face wasn't alone. He was always with a woman who had short hair. People who knew them said that this man and woman had been living on the streets for nearly 10 years. This man was often seen at the subway stations. He would carefully look around as if he was scared of being chased and kept mumbling something quietly. Someone reached out to a team from an investigative TV show, hoping to uncover the mystery behind them. As the TV crew followed them with their cameras, they began to uncover the truth. A reporter tried to speak with them, asking what was on his face. The man with the black face just repeated, "I don't know." It was only when the reporter took a closer look that he saw the man's skin was in very poor condition. His face was covered with a hard layer that was starting to crack, like dry, black earth, and his hands were also shiny and black. The reporter asked the man why he painted his face black, and if he had tried using any medicine on it. The man just shook his head and kept mechanically repeating, "I don't know." The woman also didn't want to talk and gave the same answer, "I don't know." After persistent questioning by the reporter, the man finally revealed that the woman with him was his sister. This was the only question he answered about himself. For all other questions, he still had no answers to give. After getting nowhere with the siblings, the reporter had to let them wander the streets again. It was winter. The man stopped at a spot where people had left boxes of unwanted clothes, hoping to find a warm jacket. That was when the reporter noticed that the man was only wearing a thin shirt and flip-flops, with nothing that looked warm enough for the weather. The siblings would go to a special spot on the street every day. This place was known for giving out free food, even though the food was simple, like rice with spicy kimchi. The brother and sister always enjoyed it very much and ate everything on their plates. The people who gave out the food said, "This man with the black face has been around here for 10 years. And the reporters confirmed that the man had had the black face for all those years. While watching the brother and sister every day, the reporters noticed that the man often gently tapped his face with his fingers. He said it was because his face felt itchy and painful. The crew filming them guessed that the black material on his face might be causing this discomfort. When the pain and itching became too much, the man went to a supermarket and bought a box of black substance. When the camera zoomed in, it turned out to be shoe polish. As soon as he got the shoe polish, the man hurriedly opened it and smeared all of it on his face, trying to find some relief by applying the moist black substance. When the crew tried to stop him and asked why he was doing this, the man was very resistant and refused to talk about it. With no other choice, the crew continued to follow him, hoping to find more clues about his situation. After putting shoe polish on his face, the man went back to the subway station and sat on the steps, just like he always did, staring off into space. While he was lost in thought, a drunk man approached him. Pointing at the man with the black face, the drunk shouted at him, calling him "coal face," and demanding that he leave the subway station. Seeing what was happening, the staff nearby quickly stepped in to help, but the man with the black face stayed very calm. It seemed like life had toughened him so much that the insults didn't affect him anymore. After making sure the drunk man had left, and that his sister was safe, the man called his sister over to prepare to sleep on the benches in the subway station. It was a cold night at the subway station, with temperatures only around 4 degrees Celsius. The man was wearing only a thin jacket, while his sister had a thicker coat. The reporter asked if they were going to sleep there, and the man replied that he was fine with it. His sister said that's how they always slept. The reporter then suggested, "Come with us, and we'll get you a room in a hotel." But the man insisted on staying, saying, "We're okay sleeping here." Seeing how determined they were, the crew didn't push further, and the brother and sister ended up sleeping on the benches in the subway station. At 4:50 in the morning, the man's sister woke him up because they needed to catch the earliest subway train, probably to avoid the morning crowd. When the brother woke up, he was surprised to find an extra down jacket on him, which had kept him warm all night. It turned out that the filming crew had placed it on him the previous night, worried he might be too cold. For the first time, he hadn't woken up from the cold and had slept peacefully. However, when the man saw the filming crew later, he immediately took off the down jacket and handed it back to them. This made the crew wonder if they had hurt his pride. They explained that the jacket was a gift for him, but the man was still very firm in his decision not to accept it, saying it wasn't his to keep. His sister echoed his sentiment, saying no matter how cold it was, he would always return it. Seeing the siblings' strong and independent spirit, the crew couldn't stand to watch them continue to wander the streets. Finally, with the siblings' consent, the crew took them to the local registry office, hoping to help them find their identities and see if they had any family. At the registry office, because the man's face was unrecognizable due to the black substance, they had to use fingerprint identification. Luckily, it didn't take long for the workers to find the man's identity. The man was named Hyo Young, and he was 37 years old. His younger sister was named Hein Wook, and she was about the same age. Further investigation revealed more about their family. Hyo Young had both parents alive, and even an older brother. The siblings were twins. The workers were puzzled as to why, despite having a family, Hyo Young and his younger sister chose to wander the streets with his face covered in shoe polish. Why didn't they stay immersed in the care of their family? The mystery deepened, leaving more questions about their choices. The filming crew decided to take them back to their family. But as soon as they got into the car and Hyun Wook learned they were going home, she started crying uncontrollably. It seemed like going home was a very scary idea for her. Seeing how upset she was, the crew decided it was best to bring them back to the subway station instead of forcing her to go home. When they got back to the station, Hyo Young's attitude changed dramatically. He asked the crew to please stop filming them and then quickly took his sister and ran into the subway. The crew, puzzled by this reaction, decided to visit Hyo Young's family and spoke with his father. The father explained that Hyo Young and his sister both had congenital intellectual disabilities. They often left home without any reason, and whenever one of them left, the other would always follow closely. Despite their disabilities, it was clear that the siblings cared deeply about protecting each other. Their bond had helped them overcome their challenges, and they had always been there for each other. Hyo Young's father shared that he had been disabled in a war, and that Hyo Young's mother also had intellectual disabilities, which the siblings had inherited. Since the siblings had left home, their parents had made banners and posted missing person notices, searching for 6 months without any news, until they began to fear the worst. After learning the truth, the crew decided to go back to the city to try to help the siblings return to their family. After searching for half a day, they found Hyo Young again. He was easy to spot because of his distinctive black face, but Hyo Young said his sister didn't want to go home, and he couldn't leave her alone to face any harm, so he chose to stay with her. His sister shared why she was so scared to go back home. She explained that their older brother used to hit and yell at her, which was very traumatic for her because she already had intellectual disabilities. This made her really not want to go back home, and she would try to run away whenever she got the chance. Whenever she did, Hyo Young, her brother, would instinctively follow her, staying by her side as they aimlessly wandered around the city. Hyo Young told the reporter that he used to live alone in a social welfare facility. The staff there remembered him as a very kind person who would never hurt anyone. He was like an angel, always smiling and getting along well with everyone at the facility. But one day, he received a call from his sister saying she had been hit by their brother and had run away from home. Hearing this, Hyo Young immediately left the welfare facility to find his sister. The staff said that the siblings seemed to have a special bond, always managing to find each other no matter where they were. When Hyo Young saw the staff from his previous welfare facility, he was very happy. He remembered the songs they used to sing together there. Later, thanks to the kind treatment from the film crew and the persuasion of his old friends from the welfare facility, Hyo Young finally agreed to go to the hospital to treat the shoe polish on his face. After years of application, the shoe polish had formed a thick, hard shell that caused him a lot of pain. At the hospital, the doctor explained that the shoe polish had clogged his pores for so long that it caused dermatitis and many sores on his face and hands, which were now quite severe and needed immediate treatment. Over the next 10 days, the film crew continued to encourage Hyo Young to accept treatment. Hyo Young could really sense when someone was being kind to him and wanted to do something nice in return. So, at lunchtime, Hyo Young decided to help the reporter by getting his lunch for him. This kind gesture made the reporter feel very touched. Fortunately, with the persistence of the film crew and the welfare facility staff, Hyo Young finally let down his guard. He accepted the crew's help and moved into a hotel arranged by them. Surrounded by their kindness, Hyo Young carefully cleaned his hands and face, which hadn't been washed in 10 years. After several washes, his original face slowly began to reappear. Unfortunately, although the shoe polish was gone, many chemical residues remained on his skin, requiring further hospital treatment. But Hyo Young's decision to take this step forward was already a big achievement. In the warm hotel, Hyo Young and his sister didn't have to worry about the cold or mean drunks. Most importantly, the itchy and painful shoe polish that had been covering Hyo Young's face was finally washed away, and they both slept very soundly. The next morning, Hyo Young went to the hospital for further medical checks and also began therapy with a psychologist. It was then that Hyo Young shared why he had started putting shoe polish on his face. He said that someone had attacked him in the subway and smeared shoe polish on his face. Because of his intellectual disability, Hyo Young believed that the shoe polish protected him from harm. It was his way of trying to keep himself safe. The film crew was careful about reintroducing Hyo Young and his sister to their father, worried that he might be overwhelmed by their condition. Only after the siblings had almost fully recovered did they let them return to their family home to reunite with their parents. Their mother was so happy to see them and hugged them tightly. Their father was saddened by the sight of her son's red face, but overjoyed that the shoe polish was gone. Their father expressed deep gratitude to the film crew, promising to give more care to his children and ensure they would not feel the need to run away again. Back in their own room, Hyo Young and his sister promised the film crew they would not run away from home again. Reflecting on the past 10 years, it was clear that although the siblings had intellectual disabilities, they still possessed the innate goodness of humanity. Despite enduring mistreatment from people around them and unfairness from their older brother, they remained kind and refused to easily accept charity, always grateful for any help they received. What was truly remarkable was the bond of kinship between them. Hyo Young's instinct to protect his sister was always strong. They always managed to find each other in the chaos of the city, supporting and relying on each other. The broadcast of their story touched many people in South Korea, leading to strong public demand for a follow-up visit. A year later, when the film crew returned, they found Hyo Young and his sister healthy and happy. Hyo Young was delighted to see the reporters again, eagerly making them coffee and sharing how they now took care to wash up every morning. They went out together for noodles, had a bicycle race in the park, and even took a group photo. Before leaving, the siblings gave the reporters apples and oranges as a gift. Their childlike innocence was truly moving, and everyone wished for these kind-hearted siblings to continue living a safe and happy life. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to explore more stories like this, feel free to subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.